What's up everyone, OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Today we've got some awesome information for you guys, but before we get into that, please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, and click that notification bell to get my videos first. And here we go again. We've got another big rumor with more Persona goodness coming to the Nintendo Switch in addition to other platforms in a remastered release. And this time, we're going to be talking about Persona 3 Portable coming over to the Nintendo Switch, probably PlayStation 4 and the PC as well. Now, as many of you guys know, I've been talking about how Atlus is definitely going to be supporting the Nintendo Switch more. Now, some of you guys get frustrated at my videos, but the reason why I make those videos in order to establish a pattern in terms of what I see from a business perspective, not just rumor this, rumor that, or whatever the case is. I try to break it down logically, looking at the numbers being sold, looking at what a business would do based off of what they need to do in order to maximize profit. And when you look at the Nintendo Switch sales, and if you look at what Atlus has been doing, it's very clear to me that they want to bring over a number of older games, which Sega did outline about a year or so ago. They wanted to bring over older games to the platforms in order to maximize revenue and then also make new games as well with that. And we're seeing that in the past year or so. We've gotten games like Catherine on the Nintendo Switch. We also got Persona 5 Strikers. We also got 13 Sentinels announced as well. Persona 4 Arena Ultimax was recently announced too. We got Shin Megami Tensei 5, which is a new game, but another title that was released, and that was all within the past year or so. Also, Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne HD Remaster as well. This is up in the 4 to 5, maybe even 6 game range now in the past couple years of them bringing out new titles in addition to bringing out older games as well on the PlayStation 4, PC, and the Nintendo Switch. So this establishes a pattern for you guys to see what they want to do. They're attacking the highest point of base when it comes down to it. That is the PlayStation 4, that is the PC on that side of things, and the Nintendo Switch, and they're going forward with remastering and remaking their games or bringing out the side type of titles as well, in addition to bigger games too, like Shin Megami Tensei 5. So this rumor does not come to a surprise to me that now we're hearing Zippo, to be exact, which he doesn't have a 100% track record when it comes to accurately predicting things or talking about rumors and all of that, which is, it is what it is on that front. However, Zippo did say that Persona 4 Arena Ultimax was a thing. He actually leaked the existence of this thing all the way back in July. So if he was correct about Persona 4 Arena Ultimax coming over, chances are whoever his source is when it comes to Persona 3, because that's the source of this article on Nintendo Enthusiasts, chances are that that person's probably correct as well. Now, I've heard a few things here and there, but nothing enough for me to actually say, hey, I've got my sources and they're going to say this or whatever the case is. That's why instead of just doing that, I just make videos saying, hey guys, they've already ported over this, and this. They've already talked about wanting to bring over remasters and everything. It's probably going to happen that they're going to bring over the older Persona mainline games. And that's why I make the amount of videos that I make. So it doesn't come as to a surprise when you start hearing rumors like this or whatever, because I can break it down from a business perspective on that front and not just a rumor perspective. However, there is backing here with this because Zippo did get that one right with Persona 4 Arena Ultimax. And now he's stating that Persona 3 Portable is going to be coming over as well. So this was his words exactly. It says, oh, and Persona 3 Portable is getting a remaster, multi-platform. Well, there you go. Now, we do know that the 25th anniversary is going down. Atlus and Sega are celebrating all things Persona. They have like videos, they're going to have like t-shirts and all sorts of stuff. But you know that we're going to get pretty much drip-fed information here and there. There's going to be certain points where they announce new things or whatever the case is with different games or whatever. But here's what I think with this when it comes down to everything. Here's what I think with it, and then we'll get into what Persona 3 Portable actually is. I think that with Atlus and with what's going on with this, they wanted to get all of the other games out of the way. The Catherine Full Bodies, right? Persona 5 Strikers, the new game, Shin Megami Tensei 5. Get those games out, get those games selling, do what you need to do before you bring more of the heat, more of the sauce. And you'd have to do it in order. There's no point, if you're going to remaster the older games, there's no point in jumping all the way up to 4 or 5 if you still want to do stuff like Catherine Full Body and the games that aren't going to sell as much, Persona 4 Arena Ultimax, all of that. no point, right? Because if you release those good games first, people probably aren't going to buy the other ones afterwards. So you get all the other stuff done. Of course, you work on your own craft, getting those good ports being done. Then you release the games in order. Then you release Persona 3, then you release Persona 4, then you release Persona 5, and you kind of do that throughout the year. I think that 2022 and 2023 in particular are going to be big for Persona ports when it comes down to it. I think they're going to be really big for that, because I think we're going to see those games on multiple different platforms outside of their native, the PlayStation, usually when it comes down to it. So let's talk about Persona 3 Portable just a little bit here. So I do think that this game does need a remaster. I mean, it really does need a remaster because it only launched on the PlayStation Portable, the PSP, a decade ago. So it's kind of crusty at this point. And that version of the game does offer some unique play options. You can play as the female protagonist, so kind of harkens to the Persona 5 Royal type of way there in terms of where they got that, which changes the story in some pretty small but also big ways as well. And it also removes a lot of the on-foot exploration, and it kind of replaces it with a fast and straightforward menu selection. So depending on what you like or not, it could be a good thing or a bad thing when it comes to it. So not all of the game changes from the previous one were like something that everybody loved. Now the thing about it though is that Persona Fez, which is the one from the PlayStation 2, it has a full-blown epilogue story, which Persona Portable doesn't. So they were trying to balance that portable nature and the home console nature back then, but that necessarily wouldn't make sense to do that with the Nintendo Switch when it comes down to it. So what would be really cool is if they can have Persona 3 Portable in that game and then also take what they did with Persona Fez 2 as well with the epilogue. If you combine those two, I think that would probably be the best option to go with when it comes to this game. And I think they might do something like that. And I do feel that this will lead, there'll just be more just naturally after they do Persona 3. I think Persona 4 will come and Persona 5 will come eventually as well. So that's just kind of what I think on the matter when it comes down to the game. I think that Persona is going to happen. I think that mainline Persona will happen. And there's no reason to make games like Persona 5 Strikers, right? There's no reason to put that on Switch if you weren't planning on putting more Persona on Switch. There's no need to have it there if you're not looking to make money on the platform. There's no need to port over 13 Sentinels and Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne HD Remaster and all these games that are getting multi-platform releases. There's no need to do it if you weren't planning on putting out some of your bigger sellers or your stuff that's going to sell even more. It just doesn't make any sense. So that's the reason why I think it's going to be happening. But what do you guys think about this when it comes down to it? Do you think that we're going to be getting some Persona 3 Portable Remaster, Persona 3 Remastered on the Nintendo Switch? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, now moving on to the next topic here, guys. A game that's been in development for quite some time, and that is Edge of Eternity. We've got a final release date for the game and a surprise Nintendo Switch version. However, it's a cloud version of the game. But you know what? We never knew this game was even going to come to the Switch at all, so that's pretty crazy here. So, Edge of Eternity will launch officially for the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One on February 10th, 2022, followed by a newly announced cloud version for the Nintendo Switch on February 23rd. Publisher Dear Villagers and developer Midgar Studio recently announced. Now, the Japanese-inspired RPG first launched for the PC via Steam on June 8th. Now, here's a little bit of an overview of this game, and I did play the PC release just a bit, and you can tell it's an indie developer that's really trying to make a high-quality JRPG, even though they're not Japanese, but it's the style of the game. You know, you can tell that they're trying. There was some things here and there. I don't think it's a bad game, and I feel that they could even make some better improvements when it does release on consoles here. So let's talk about the console versions. So the console versions will benefit from all the current and upcoming updates and fixes from the PC version. Moreover, the console versions and the PC will get a Japanese voiceover update on February 10th, 2022. In a world torn asunder, the people of Haram pursue a desperate war against a mysterious invader. As this conflict opposing magic and technology grows to cataclysmic proportions, a new threat emerges from the battlefield. Wage epic turn-based battles as you follow Durion and Celine in their quest to find a cure to all-consuming corrosion and save the world of Haran. Edge of Eternity is developed by a small indie team based in south of France, and the game was made possible by over 4,000 fans who supported the game via Kickstarter campaign. The crowdfunding was so successful that Midgar Studio was able to work with the legendary JRPG composer of Chrono Trigger, Yasunori Mitsuda. And here's the key features of the game. You have a deep and strategic combat system, outwit your enemies in epic turn-based tactical combat, use the environment to lure them into devious traps, outsmart and outflank them to inflict massive damage, craft your gear and insert it with powerful crystals to unlock unique combinations of skills and power-ups. The cast of charismatic characters. Meet a cast of larger-than-life companions, each with their own unique personalities and attributes. Discover their dreams, flaws, hopes, and torments as you experience and share many special moments together. A gorgeous world to discover. Journey through Haran's unique and ethereal environments and unearth the most ancient secrets. A stunning soundtrack from the composer of Chrono Trigger and Xenoblade Chronicles. Haran is brought to life by sublime soundtrack from industry legend and composer of Chrono Trigger and Xenoblade Chronicles, Yasunori Mitsuda. So yeah, the music in this game actually is really good, and that was a huge get to kind of put that tagline on there. Hey, we got the guy when it comes to music. Chrono Trigger, Xenoblade Chronicles. Doesn't get much better than that when it comes to music and everything. And yes, the music is really good, and one of the most important things in a JRPG is music. Like, the battle theme needs to be good. Sometimes if you're grinding or if you just want to get through the game and the music is trash, sometimes you just feel like not playing it. So I do respect when games have really good music and multiple good tracks, not just a few bangers here and there. I've been playing a ton of SMT5 and pretty much every single track in that game is really good. Like the slow tracks, the more of the battle themes, the different themes from the different battle themes in different areas, the boss themes, certain boss themes, really good stuff. So that was a good get for them on that one. And like I stated before, man, I've played this on PC a little bit. I think it's a solid game. There was some issues at the time that I played it because I played it when it was like early access. So I haven't played the updated build from what they've done from June and everything, but I did play it like the early key. They gave me one quite a while back at this point. So I'm pretty sure that they've already made some updates to it. And of course, the console version, they wanted to wait all the way, but this game goes so far back. I just remember hearing about this game so long ago at this point, and it's finally coming into fruition for them. Like, it's finally coming out to the fact where they made it all the way past like multiple years into the Switch now. So PS5 as well, Xbox Series. So this is very good. I'm very happy for them. They're a small, developer that really wanted to do a Japanese RPG, and they've made their dream come true at this point. It's coming out February 10th. On the Xbox and PlayStation systems. Then, of course, the newly announced February 23rd for the Switch version, although it's a cloud version of the game. But at least there is an option to play it on Switch. So what do you guys think about Edge of Eternity so far? Are you planning on checking out this game? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, and moving into the final topic here, guys. Looks like we've got another Nintendo 64 game that has been announced by Nintendo. It's a legendary game, and this character apparently was in Super Smash Bros. Recently. So yeah, recently, a couple of years ago. Anyway, the 1998 classic comes to Nintendo Switch Online service. So yes, Nintendo 64 and Nintendo Switch Online will add Banjo-Kazooie. In January of 2022, Nintendo has announced Banjo-Kazooie first launched for the N64 in June 1998, the intellectual property and its developer, Rare, are now owned by Microsoft. So let's talk about this. The reason why I wanted to bring it up is because Nintendo is actually telling us well ahead of time of what games are going to be coming. They've never really given us a schedule when it comes down to it. When we first got Nintendo Switch Online with the Super Nintendo and the NES games, Nintendo actually had like a month-to-month type of thing where each month there would be new games that you can play. Usually like a Super Nintendo game or a few NES games or a few Super Nintendo games and like one NES game, whatever the case is. Then eventually they were like, yeah, we're not going to do that anymore. We're just going to do whenever they're ready, they're ready. And it really slowed down when it comes down to it with the selection on there, which kind of frustrated a lot of people. Then we had the whole debacle of Nintendo Switch Online plus expansion pack, which came out, and people were really crazy and angry about the price. So I get that when it comes down to it. And then in a Q&A, or in a FAQ more like it, Nintendo said, well, we're not going to really have a schedule. We'll just let you know when we let you know. So many people felt that Nintendo probably wasn't going to have a new game released each month when it comes to it. And on top of that, Nintendo also isn't doing Super Nintendo and NES games or Genesis games every single month or giving us anything like that. Because remember, the Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack, it came out in late October from what I remember. November, we didn't get any new drops. And then December, they just dropped Paper Mario recently, which plays really well on the Nintendo Switch Online. So I think the emulation is good on that one. So now they're actually giving us this a month in advance, almost, right? It's January, so I'm guessing it's going to be shortly after, maybe that first or second week of January after New Year's. So there's actually somewhat of them saying, hey, we're going to let you know what's happening. I still would love to see Nintendo, as good as this is, but I'm not a Banjo-Kazooie fan. I don't like the games as much as other people like the games, but it's good at least that they're telling us. But I would still like to see Nintendo do a set schedule. Like, hey, every single month, we're going to have one N64 game, one Super Nintendo game, one NES game, one Genesis game, or at least we're going to have at least 2 or 3 games from different platforms every single month. I think that would be a very good thing to do if they can do it. Now, I don't claim to know emulation and how it works and how fast they can get it done and all the different checks and balances. I don't know that, so I don't know how feasible that is. I just think it would be nice if there was some type of schedule. Considering that Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack is $50, it would be dope if they just said, hey, this is what the schedule is going to be. This is what we're looking at. It is tentative to change, but this is what we feel we're going to be able to get done with this premium service. So that's kind of my thought on it. But outside of that, Banjo-Kazooie's here. Obviously, Paper Mario just dropped. It's still a really good game, so I need to get to it when it comes to Paper Mario, one of the very few RPGs on the N64. So I think that this is awesome, though, the fact that they're telling us at least ahead of time here. But still, there's still more work to be done when it comes down to Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack. So we'll see how it's going. And there's also, I wouldn't say like a rumor, but there's been some slight changes to Ocarina of Time. Apparently they are improving some of the things in that game as well. So it looks like some updates are going to be coming to improve the emulation as well as we go along here. So what are your thoughts when it comes to everything that we discussed here? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and we will see you for the next video. Peace.